Random video here. I did this wastegate actuator bush replacement on a mate's 135i N54 twin turbo motor. Did it the other day. I thought I might make a little video, it might help someone, and I'll do it on this one. This one hasn't been done yet. What they have an issue with after a while, the actuator flogs out the bearing and it moves around a ton. You can't really see on this one because this isn't worn out, but they flog out, and then when the flap is told to be closed, it doesn't sit against the flange properly and it leaks. Obviously the performance is going to go down. So I thought I'd make this little video on how to do it with the least amount of tools possible. I came up with some random shit and it seemed to work for me, and I'm going to try and demonstrate how to do it, and it might help you. Okay, so what I came up with for the pulling the upper bush out, we're going to pull it up. Don't have a slide hammer. Save having to go spend money on a slide hammer. So what I did was found a socket, 21mm. It fits over the top of the bush. The threaded rod can come up. Get this from anywhere. Get it from Bunnings, cheap as. What I did was 2 nuts at the bottom. Lock it in. Oh, that's tight. Yeah, cool. Nut off. Thread right through. See it in there? Which way? Yeah, cool. Put it on enough you can get both nuts at the end. We're literally just making a little pull. We're going to lock those 2 nuts together. And that's 13, whatever. Those 2 are locked off. Then they'll sit up at the bottom of the bush and pull the bush up. Over top, a little bit of anything. I didn't have a washer, so I got this nut off a car. I pulled apart, I don't know what it is. Another nut on top. That nut pulls the whole lot up from the inside. The whole premise is this is cheap as possible. Anybody can do it at home, because not everybody has access to tools or a budget, and we'll do it cheap. Now we need to heat it up. Just got some matte gas, literally anything you get from Bunnings. Heat up the body around where the bush is. at the bottom just to stop them from spinning. And you just tighten that up. Nut came off the bottom. Chimney huggy duggers. Almost out. Use a bigger socket now. Put this other nut back on. Nut came off and screwed a bit. Just got to reset that. Put those nuts both at the end of the thread so you get the most amount of pulling room we can. Where's nut? Okay, here it is. Pull that off. Bush, dirty old factory bush. All the crap coming out of it. Now we gotta put this in the freezer. Hopefully it will shrink a little bit. I don't have any measuring equipment to see what the actual interference fit is right now, but doing the other one, it was very, very tight. Okay, so I put the new bush in the freezer. It's been sitting there for maybe 10-15 minutes now. I just got this heating up with the matte gas. In a couple of minutes, it should be well and truly hot enough to expand. I'm going to go get the bush out of the freezer and try not to touch it too much. So use pliers, not your skin, because you're going to take too much. Going to put too much heat into it. I really don't think it's a going to be like a slip fit. You're going to have to hit it in. Got the hammer here. I don't have aluminium or a brass race, so I'm going to slip this inside the bush. That one goes in and try and push it from the top. I hit it from the top. We're going to hit it square. That's what that's good for. Hit this square to the top of that. If we hit it on an angle, we're going to pin the top over, and then our flap is not going to want to go in very nice at all. So I'll go get that. We'll quickly put it on this, put it in there, we'll try and hit it in. push back, that's good enough. Loose butter in. Oh, look at that. Perfect. Lucky the last one didn't go as good. Another might not have been exactly the same machine, or maybe I didn't leave it in the freezer long enough, but that's perfect. We just got to let the outside cool down now before we really touch it, because if it moves up, it's going to be stuck, and we have to heat the outside up, keep the center cool, and knock it back down. We don't really want to have to mess with it much because it can interfere with the fit. So this goes in on the inside, goes up from the inside, set it all the way up. We have that little spud at the top, and that spud gets welded to our, what do you want to call it, the little actuator arm that goes to our actuator. But unfortunately, the customer decided to take it upon himself to remove the factory setup before dropping it down, and I do not know the position it needs to be in, so he's going to have to drop the actuator, the whole assembly down, and we have to figure out where closed and open is and tack this in the appropriate place. But that will do it for now. Pretty basic. Recap on the tools required. Find any way you want to do it. You might have a bit of tube, but socket worked for me. Most people have a socket. Probably use a big one straight up if you had a long enough piece of thread. This is just 8mm gal all thread from Bunnings, cheap as. 8mm nuts, 2 at the bottom. You could use a nylock nut, but it can still come undone. So I'd really suggest just using 2 lock nuts together, 2 nuts, lock them together. Chuck it up from underneath. Any washer, instead of using this on the top of the socket, you really want to, there's going to be a bit of force on it, so maybe just get some washers if you don't have anything like this, or a plate of steel with a hole in it, or whatever the hell you can find. Don't particularly need a rattle gun. You can use ratchet, shifter, spanner, but that's obviously quick. You want to do it while it's still hot before you can give it much chance to cool down. Yogurts, I use, I don't know what that is. It's small, the 3/16, and this one is 11/64, but whatever, 5mm, 4mm, 6mm, as long as it gets the pin out, drills the pin out. Just don't bother, no need to go all the way through with that either, just past halfway would be sufficient. That's about it, eh? Hope it helps you.